tres.
Hola amigos de Mixtape Lado A, y hoy tenemos la gran oportunidad de conversar con Elora Dash. Y en esta conversación lo vamos a tener solo disponible en inglés, así que estén atentos en sus subtítulos. Hi Elora, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was enjoying your music. I was enjoying your songs. Love You More. I think that was the last song that is available in the platforms. It has this vibe, very R&B, new
Thank you.
soul. But that's one of the few songs that you singing.
Yes, I have a lot of music where it's all instrumental, which is, I know doesn't make total sense for a singer because I'm a singer, right?
Okay.
Uh, but that first project is called Self-Actualization, and I made it in 2020. We were all stuck at home. I was finishing college. I did music business in college. So for my senior project, I decided to make an album, collaborated with a lot of other artists. And at the time, I didn't have a ton of lyrical content. I had written a few songs. This was kind of when I was like starting this project, my first show as Elora Dash. I was in another band before that, but as Elora Dash, my first show was in 2021. So that project came before I really started writing lyrical stuff. And I just did it for fun, just to kind of get my feet wet, just to get comfortable, recording music and producing music and doing it from home. And it was really cool because I would just come up with, like, I play keys, I play keyboard as well. So I would come up with that part and I would record that and then I'd send that to like a drummer. They'll put the drums on it and then we'll send it to a bassist and then they'll put their part on it, just adding in other little layers and stuff. So yeah, so I did that project mostly for fun. I'm glad I did. I learned a lot making it and just kind of made it with my friends, had a good time doing that. And then starting in 2021, I started writing a lot more songs with lyrics to them. And that's when I put out my song Disappointed. And then Love You More came out a couple years ago. Me and my band are working on an album right now that is a lot of stuff that we collaborated on together. So I have it's me and then a drummer, a bassist, and a keyboard player, and they all play with me at my shows as well. So we're working on an album right now. We're in the studio, and I'm hoping to put it out by the end of this year. I'm a perfectionist, so sometimes I struggle to be like ready to put something out. Like it's hard to judge your own art and know, okay, like this is the final product because I've heard it so many times. So I think that's where I struggle is to put out more music, but I am trying to do put out more music this year, and try to let things be imperfect more often because I think that is the beauty in music anyway.
For I remember when if you listen to the Beatles songs in the 70s, it's not perfect. You can hear some details that it give
Yes.
it I don't know, it feel like more human. Also feel like there's a
Yes.
connection. Like you feel, oh well, if they make the mistakes, I can make some mistakes if you want to record something, you want to make something. So if you look in details when you're making creating music, how long it takes for you to make a song?
Well, it starts with writing the song, right? So usually my process is I will write a chord progression and start to maybe have some melody ideas, and then I'll bring that to the band. My keyboard player, his name is Daniel. He is really good at coming up with the perfect voicing of the chords and just like fleshing it out and adding stuff to it. And then, the bass and the drums come in and kind of give me a concept for what it's all going to sound like. And I usually take just like a little voice memo of that and then write the lyrics when I'm by myself later. Sometimes I write lyrics while we're there. Sometimes it's a combination of both. And then at that point, we kind of did that several times. Now we have it's going to be 7 or 8 songs on this album. And so we went to the studio and just started getting drums first, just because that takes a while to set up. So we want to get as much of that at a time as we can. And then we start layering in, we do any bass we need to do, we layer in some keys. Um, we hire musicians to play other parts. I We're still in the such like the beginning stages of the album, so it's hard to say what else we're gonna add to it. But I'm actually going tomorrow to do my lead vocal parts, and I feel like once I do that, I'll kind of know a little bit more about what comes next. But I guess like Love You More probably took me, it's hard to say. I did it like kind of sporadically, like
Okay.
some I would do some and then I wouldn't do it for a while and then I would come back to it. And I'm also a friend of mine I'm working with. I really like to work with him, but he's also very, very busy. So whenever I get time, that's when we get in the studio. Now we're working at a new studio that we're able to like get access to a little more often. So I'm hoping to finish that album hopefully by the summer and put it out in the fall. And I'm hoping by the time I come to Peru, come to Lima, I'll have some of that music out as well. That's my goal.
As you go, okay. We hope so. We hope we listen, but at least we can listen to some unreleased music
Yes,
live.
you'll at least get to hear it at the shows.
Nice. When I listen to Disappointed, the sound it feels more like a folky. What do you say? Like, Love You More have to be R&B, or you still looking for the sounds for your project?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like those two songs I was really developing what my sound was going to become. Love You More is definitely more R&B, and Disappointed was so my boyfriend Brady, he's the drummer in my band. He also plays guitar. So sometimes like he'll be playing guitar and I'll be like, I really like that, and I'll take a little recording of it or I'll start to sing on it. And that's how that song was made. Um, and it was about a friend of ours that we both like we were both really close with and kind of grew apart from. So we both could kind of like we had similar feelings that I kind of tried to bring out in the song. And I felt like most of what I feel inspired by is soul music, R&B, jazz. And yeah, I feel like Disappointed came out sounding kind of folky, and I didn't even necessarily think about it. I kind of just like wrote whatever came to my mind.
Mhm.
I think it being acoustic with the guitar makes it kind of even more so. So yeah, so I feel like my inspirations come from everywhere because really like growing up, my mom was the musical one and she grew up in India. So we were listening to Indian music a lot at home. And my dad's not much of a music head. He's more of a science kind of guy, less of an arts guy. So I got exposed to music through my mom, which was mostly Bollywood and other like Indian classical and like religious music. And then I kind of had to develop my own taste in music. Like I always liked popular stuff. And then as I got older, I started getting more and more into R&B. And then it's been cool to kind of go back to those older albums. Like one of my biggest inspirations is Stevie Wonder. I had heard of Stevie Wonder for a long time, but never really dove into his music. And then once I did that, it really started to inspire my sound a lot more. Um, I would say if I can write anything like that, I will be one day, I will be happy. Even if it's just a little bit, if someone hears a little bit of that in my songs, then I will be so happy. Um, but yeah.
When I talk to other musicians, they usually say that you have to write like 30 songs or 40 songs. From those 40 songs, 10 is gonna be good, or nine
Yeah.
is gonna be good. But it's about the practicing and the skills that they improve for writing lyrics.
Yes,
I know,
exactly.
and it's not easy. I know it's
Yeah.
not easy. See.
It's a skill all on its own. You can learn how to play the piano, you can learn how to sing, and then you can learn how to be a songwriter, and that's a whole separate skill that takes practice. I feel like I write a lot of half songs where I'll write like a verse and a chorus, and then so if I like it a lot, I'll continue it. If I'm like, it's okay, maybe I'll come back to it. Those are kind of the other 30 out of the 40 songs that don't get heard. But I want to start writing more full songs because that way I can really determine like if it's a good song to add to the mix. But with all of these songs that I wrote with the band, we pretty much just like every time I had an idea that I thought was cool enough, I'd bring it to them and we'd flesh it out. And all of those songs are just going to be on the album. But yeah, I've heard from a lot of people like you got to write 100 songs to maybe get one hit song or whatever if you're a really good songwriter. So yeah, it's a practice thing. And I think the more that I write and the more that I record, just the more that I learn and the better it'll sound.
Yeah. And the songs that you write is about things that happens to you, or you create like characters to create these lyrics?
It's very personal to me. Disappointed, like I said, was about a friend of mine. And then Love You More is about my boyfriend, actually. I wrote it kind of about how before I ever told him I liked him, um, that I was feeling. And then once I finally told him the way that it made me feel. And then like, some of my songs are silly, like some of them are not serious, some of them are about I feel like I don't write a ton of love songs. I'm trying to do more of that. But I think my favorite song that we have written recently, the name of it for now at least is called Delulu, meaning delusional, just being a
Oh,
silly name for that. Um, but it's kind of about like how like as artists it can feel like making it or whatever, like getting whatever that means, getting recognition for your art. There's so many people who are trying to do that and so many talented people in the world, and nothing is guaranteed. Like nothing is sure. You have to work really hard, you have to get lucky, you have to know the right people. But I think the way that I see it is I'm just going to kind of believe that I can do it, even if it's not meant to work out that way. I'm gonna believe it for as long as possible because I think that's what's gonna get me the closest. Because if I'm, not sure, am I gonna make it? Am I not gonna make it? Then like I'm already doubting myself. Whereas if I can just be like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna make it. I'm just gonna say that. Like I think it's powerful to manifest things.
that's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
It's about manifesting. Also, it's because out of the 100 people that listen to music, 1,000 people, 10 or 40 is gonna connect it. They're gonna say, "Hey, that's how I feel too," and that's very important. Like because unless even it's only one or two people, it's very important. Like they have a connection, and the lyrics that you writing is like.
Yeah, and I try to write in a way that can be up to interpretation to different people so that a lot of people can relate to it. But yeah, I hope when I write a song and I put it out, I hope that if even one person relates to it, then I've done my job.
And so in this 8 or 9 song that is coming in this new album, there's gonna be some songs that's gonna be kind of like they kind of have like India music or India sounds, anything related to it, or you don't know yet, or you prefer
I
not
don't
to wait.
I'm not sure. I am really when I was younger, I took Indian classical like singing lessons, and back then I wasn't very interested in it. I was more interested in like pop music and playing the piano. But now that I've gotten older and I like understand music better, I'm really interested in connecting to my culture that way. I also used to do Indian classical dance, so like that was my sort of connection to culture for a long time. And now that I'm focused on music, I'm like kind of going back to the Indian classical music and like getting interested in that again. So at the moment, I would love to incorporate more of those sounds. Like I have this idea to do like oftentimes in like Indian classical music. Oftentimes in Indian classical music, it's just like a drone, and then there's a lot of like melodic improvisation. And so I've had this idea to like have a song that's just a drone, and I sing whatever, improvise something over it. And I think that would be a good way for me to start. But at the moment, I feel like I want to become more educated in that style before I kind of like pull it into my style. I want to do it justice and be authentic and all that stuff. So, of the stuff that we've written so far, it's not super influenced by that, but I do think that we will, my drummer also plays tabla, which is a Indian drum, which is also he played it on one of the tracks off of that first album that I made. So I might incorporate some of that because I just love that sound. I think it's a nice texture to add. But I definitely want to incorporate more of those influences as I keep writing.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Wallace from the instrumental album, I like it a lot.
Thank you.
It was very cool. It was very cool. Make me
Thank
watch
you.
a Pulp Fiction again.
I don't know, just like I named all the songs just based off the vibe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have any like names for them beforehand. We kind of just made them all, and I was like, this one feels like just reminds me of Mrs. Wallace, you know?
Are you? It's coming like that. The titles is coming like whatever
But
you make me feel
I,
bad.
yeah, so with the new stuff, I can kind of pull from my lyrics and what the song's
Okay.
about to name them. So they're pretty much all of them have names, although we might review some of them and change some of them, make maybe come up with something better for them.
Okay. I'm gonna be expecting the names. Of, I don't know. I feel like you put like very cool title tracks in
Yeah, thank
names. Yeah.
you.
So you're going to Lima, Peru in July 2nd, if I correct?
I think it's it's like the 14th or 15th, I
Oh,
think that
14, 15.
yeah.
So what we expecting for your event?
Well, we're gonna be playing R&B. I would call it neo soul,
And
more like
also,
the
okay.
genre. Yeah, like I feel like we're leaning more into that sound. So I'm gonna be bringing the four-piece band, so I'd like to think we put on a good show. It's a fun, energetic show. We like to get weird. We like to just explore musically. Everyone's a very, very talented musician in the band. I'm very grateful to have them. And I'm going to be working on my Spanish so I can talk to the audience as well.
A little bit, a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At least enough to talk about the music.
Yeah. Sometimes when you learn the slangs, it connects to the people, to the audience.
Yes,
I feel like
totally.
it's, yeah, I feel like
I
sometimes
started to learn. I went to Lima with my friend's band Diego, with his band Tumbao, uh, last year, and I started to learn a little bit while we were there. But I got to get back into it so I can get more fluent, closer to it anyway.
so okay, so you can hear, I mean, you went to Lima before. So
Yeah.
how you like the vibe of the music scene over there?
I love it. Everyone is so just, I mean, just the city itself is just so beautiful. And like, we went in April and it was like perfect weather, and everyone is so kind, and everyone is very like into it, you know, when they're there at the show, they're focused on the music and they're getting up and dancing if they want to, and they're you know, they want to know more about it. We would like have people sign up for our email list, and we would always get a ton of people to do that. And I met a lot of really nice musicians. One of the bands that played with Tumbao, all of them were really nice, and I got to talk to them a little bit. But that's another reason I want to get better at Spanish because I know there's a lot of people who speak very little English, and I want to be able to
Mhm.
like connect with those people more because I'm coming to, you know, your country, so I want to come in as an artist and, you know, find my place in it and be respectful of the culture and be understanding and like be able to communicate with people more. So that's my goal for the next time.
It's enough time to learn some sentences and some
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, totally.
Elora, thank you so much for your time and to know a little more about your project. I really enjoyed talking to you. It
Thank
was,
you. Thank you so much for having me.
well, I can wait for to listen to the new album, to the new tracks. Meanwhile, to for the audience of Mixtape Lado, we can listen to Love You More. We have Disappointed. Also, we have the instrumental album. It's
Self-actualization.
self-actualization.
Yes.
I put it something different in my writing. I'm still old school. I don't put it on an iPad. I put it on a pad. I don't know why.
Okay. No, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I sometimes I can even understand my own handwriting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.